Well, hello, wonderful, beautiful brothers, guys, hello, wonderful, beautiful Maverick Nation. I am the Dark Shadow Maverick, and this is What If Naruto Was a Suna Shinobi on part 2. And the last part was basically the entire introduction to this What If series. And now we have Naruto with his getting team now. The Jonin instructor. Let's just say that since Naruto and Gaara became friends at an earlier age than Gaara, whenever he started freaking out, like, on a normal everyday basis, Yashimaru was still alive. So Yashimaru would be the Jonin sensei. He wouldn't be Tokubetsu Jonin, special Jonin. He would be a Jonin, because he would have to be the Jonin sensei of Naruto's team, which is Naruto, Shihei, and Bam. Bam being the Konoichi of their team. Shihei having a high earth affinity, and Bam having a high wind affinity. And nope, blah blah blah. Naruto would just have a high wind affinity and a sort of okay earth affinity. And a decent enough fire affinity because of the Nine-Tailed Fox. And it's basically, what is heard is that Orochimaru, traitor of, Hiruzen's, team thing, basically a traitor of the Leaf Village, he'd be doing some freaky deaky shit. And considering, the daimyo of Wind Country, now not exactly be favoring the conditions of the Sand Village, how Orochimaru might want to use his power and influence to get the Sand Village to, along with Oto, his village, attack the Leaf Village come the Chunin exams. And basically, this is all the information gathered by the use of Shihei's special clan ability, which is basically like Ino's clan ability, but like if it was a Suna Shinobi who had it. It's basically like Ino's, but like if it was a Suna Shinobi. So like the mind transfer or the mind whatever, like jutsu, but if the Suna Shinobi had it. It's basically like Shihei's clan ability. Clan jutsu. And Bam also has a clan ability that allows her to, camouflage like really freaking good. So like nobody can see her. And also if she touches someone, she can also make them really good in camouflage so that nobody can see them. So it's really good for team camouflage. So yeah, they kind of just like really good help with figuring out about the whole thing. And what I mean by the whole thing is, well, basically, Bam basically uses her clan's special jutsu to turn Yashimaru invisible, and basically using his ninja stealth making sure Orochimaru doesn't hear him, or none of his friends hear him. Like the Sound 5. Like the Sound 4 and, plus Kimimaro. Well, basically, Orochimaru just, kind of, being all smug and shit, and then, Kimimaro going for the kill. And, basically, Orochimaru just being the smug bastard that he is, just, chops, or just freaking, ah, goes in with Kusanagi, just, stabs straight in to Rasa, the fourth Kage. And so Yashimaru just, gets the hell out of there, gets the hell out of Dodge, making sure none of them either hear or see him, because there's a certain time restraint on the camouflage jutsu, and Yashimaru has to be really ninja stealthy in order to make sure nobody hears him. And Yashimaru, with the help of the other jutsu, is indeed able to do this. And, well, what he says kind of, sends Gaara over the deep end. And, Tamari and Kankuro kind of have to, sort of pacify Gaara in a way. It's okay, Gaara, it's okay. And Gaara would be like, no, it's not okay. He killed my dad, he killed my dad, he killed my dad. And Naruto would just pop up from behind and be like, remind you, Gaara, of what your dad was like whenever he was alive. Naruto just, being himself, even whenever he's, a sand shinobi, he's still himself. And Shihei and Ben would be like, we tried to stop him, Yashimaru-sensei. We tried to stop him. But we just couldn't keep up. He's too fast. And Yashimaru would be like, and this is why I told you guys to keep on doing the weight training. So you can catch Naruto whenever he tries to do this shit. And also, for battle purposes as well. That shit too. And, well, Naruto would just kind of, calm Gaara down in his own way. Just being like, going through his whole thing. And, Yashimaru would basically just leave it up choice, basically do the same thing that Rasa did, leave Naruto and Gaara in the same room together, like no one else. And that's whenever the Sand Council, including Lady Chiyo, Lady Chiyo would be vouching for this, the most out of anybody in the council. Basically vouching for Yashimaru to soon become the 5th Kazekage. Because, well, they need a Kazekage. And technically, Yashimaru just, admits that really won't need to happen because Orochimaru's planning on, faking the role of Kazekage come the Chunin exams. So, well, basically, once he's exposed, then they can get on the roll. They can have, a backup leader behind the scenes, but, as long as Orochimaru's, doing things his own way, they aren't gonna really need that. Just, need someone to reinforce the rules, in the back, of everything. They're not really gonna need a Kazekage, because it's kind of Orochimaru's thing. He's planning on, making Hiruzen think he's the Kazekage. Rasa, even though he killed him. And, well, basically with Gaara and Naruto, Basically, like, Naruto's gotten Gaara to calm the frick down, but, like, Gaara realizes that Naruto, he's kind of a little bit, not just a little bit, like, really freaking nettled over the news of, like, the death of, like, I guess what you would call it, like, his stepdad. Like, he may not have exactly liked Rasa all that much, but at least he could agree he's not total human trash. I mean, like, he didn't deserve to die. Especially not by somebody like Orochimaru, or any of his mooks. Like a Sand 5. And, well, yeah. Basically, overall, the news just being transferred person to person. Guard begins to see something. That, just like what happened with him, like, having his mother, like a sand version of his mother, like, have her arms around him, the same thing is happening with Naruto. A sand version of Kushina, basically, on one side, but there's also, like, a sand version of Minato. And they're kind of, like, doing the whole thing like the mother and father puppet, like, with Sasori, kind of giving him, like, a double hug. Like, giving Naruto a double hug. Like, both hugging him. And that's until, like, they kind of pour themselves into Naruto. And Naruto is just, like crying out in, like, pain and, like, suffering. And Gaara's like, Yashimaru! Yashimaru! And, like, Yashimaru's like, holy shit, what the hell? And, like, just, like, everybody, like, even Kankuro, Tamari, like, Shihei, and Bam, all of them see, like, Naruto just, like, crying out in pain and, like, suffering. Like, he can see everything. He sees the battle with, like a Minato on Gamabunta's back versus the Nine Tails, and eventually Kushina popping up in there. And, you know, Naruto, like, in his, like, little baby form, having, like, half of the Nine Tails chakra getting sucked into him. And, you know, Minato having, like, the Shinigami, like, sever his soul in half, with the other half of the Nine Tails being in him. And basically, yeah, Naruto sees everything. And now he knows why. Now he has a vengeance like no other. And whenever he finally wakes up after, like, a good 6 hours of just being unconscious, like, finally just unconscious after so much pain and suffering and misery and just despair. 6 hours of it, just pure 6 hours of it. And he just finally wakes up in, like, the medical wing of one of the Land of Wind, like, hospitals, like one of the Sand Village hospitals, like, waking up in the medical wing, and, like, they're like, what? Where's Shihei and Bam? Where are Kankuro, Tamari, Gaara? Where are they? Where's Yashimaru? Where's Baki? Because, you know, Baki is, like, a Sand siblings, like Jonin Sensei. And, well, basically Lady Chio would come into the room, and she would basically just to, prove a point that she was trying to prove to the council and everybody else. She would throw a kunai at Naruto, and automatically, poof, sand defense. And Gaara would actually be watching through a window, and he'd be like, wait, what? And Yashimaru would just be like, just like Gaara, Naruto now has a sand defense. And yeah, basically, now, Naruto's like Gaara. He has a sand defense as well. Protection from harm through his parents. Now that he knows everything. And, he's just full, like, anger. And basically Lady Chio, like, basically says that the reason she threw the kunai is, like, to, like, test. To see if it was actually true. And that if it wasn't true, basically, that Yashimaru and even Baki were on standby just to, like, shun into the room and grab the kunai before it actually stabbed in Naruto. And, Naruto actually sees that both Yashimaru and even Baki were on standby. And so now Naruto's like, oh, so she really wasn't lying. And Shio's like, he thought I was lying. Man, what he must have saw really did turn him cold. And Naruto is just like mumbling to himself, you think it wouldn't? Old hag. And, Chio would have actually heard that and been like, old hag? And Naruto would be like, yeah, what are you gonna do about it? Bitch. She and Bam would just like drag Naruto off, and Naruto would just they would attempt to drag him off, like, to just get him away from Chio so that he didn't start a fight. But he would just bat them away with his sand defense and be like, don't you get anywhere near me. He'd be like pissed. Basically, Yashimaru, as the team sensei, would be the only one who would actually be able to calm Naruto down. Because along with Baki, he was there, to shun into the room, just to make sure the kunai didn't hit Naruto in the heart. Just in case, like, Chio's theory was proven wrong. The theory she had come up with while Naruto was unconscious. The theory that, possibly could happen. Because, of what exactly, happened before, Naruto's, like, psychotic episode. Basically, Naruto would want to know where Gaara was, and Yashimaru, trusting Naruto, would basically take him to where Gaara was, and Gaara would just, like, jump into him and give him a big friggin' bear hug, faster than Naruto-san could actually get to, like, protect him. And that's whenever, like, both, like, Yashimaru and Baki actually realized that just like Gaara-san, which is actually more or less controlled by the will of his mother, though basically the control of Naruto-san is controlled by the will of both his mother and his father. Which basically means that his sand can literally Hiraishin over to protect him. Which, considering how Minato was, a little bit too trusting sometimes, which is probably why it didn't really Hiraishin over to protect him. Like, it didn't really go too fast. And plus, Kushina probably wouldn't really be too, like, upset at Gaara. Actually probably would think, he's one of the only friends that Naruto actually has over here. So, wouldn't be too, like, uppity to try and, like, attack Gaara. So, yeah, basically, Naruto and Gaara just, like, are, having a moment to themselves and basically discussing, like, what exactly they think actually happened and why Naruto now himself has a sand defense. And basically, Naruto's sand defense seems to be superior to Gaara's because instead of just the will of one person, it's the will of two people, his mother and his father. And, it's so superior that his sand defense can even, go Hiraishin levels, like flying Thunder God levels. It can, like, go instinct sand defense. So, like, it can, like, teleport in front of him, or behind him, or above him, or below him. Just, like, so nobody can touch him. It's, like, ridiculously, like, redonkulously fast. It's like Hiraishining sand defense. A sand defense that can, like, teleport to, like, assist him. And it even has, like, the rage of Kushina Uzumaki, the red hot habanero of the hidden leaf. And so, like, someone, like, a sand defense with, like, that kind of rage is not a sand defense you want to get attacked by. So, yeah, I think, like, like, just in general, I think everybody will, like, understand what is up now. And basically, the whole mission with, basically everyone figuring out what is up, the whole sand and sound invasion. The sand really wouldn't be with the sound to help them invade, more or less to only make them think they're there to help them invade, when really they're actually going to be pulling an Itachi and, sneak info in, like, let everybody know that this is what's happening. We're basically pulling an Itachi, and we're actually going to be helping you from behind the scenes. So yeah, the Sand never really break their allegiance, like alliance, to, like, the Leaf Village. They're actually pulling an Itachi. They're going to be pulling an Itachi because of the information that Yashimaru got. All because of that mission. Because of the shady shit that usually is involved whenever you're, like, dealing with someone like Orochimaru. And so, just all because of that, that's how that's going to happen and all that shit. And oh boy, is it gonna be special. And even now that, like, Naruto has his own stand defense, which is instead of one person, two people. Yeah, like, bitchin'. So yeah. Yeah, so basically, I don't know if the end of this because actually I'm never get to AT. I'd hear you both. Like, favorite, subscribe. Click the little bell. Something in the comment section. Bouncing a squeeze in my blue suede shoes. I said my outro in reverse, like part of it in reverse. Oh, me oh my oh, apple freaking pie. I don't even like apple pie. Well, by the way, if any of you guys are wondering about Thanksgiving, what I'm going to do for that, if I'm going to do anything for that, well, technically I'm going to have, like, two Thanksgivings, like the actual Thanksgiving and whenever everybody is going to be celebrating Thanksgiving. It's going to be, like, 2 different days. So I'm gonna be like doing two different Thanksgiving videos, like a part one and a part two. They could be two different videos entirely, or they could be like I really don't know because I really haven't planned anything yet. But I'm gonna try to do something. I don't know what I'm gonna try to do, but I'm gonna try to do something. Because Thanksgiving, just like Christmas and Halloween, only comes once a year. Also, just like Easter and April Fools, only comes once a year. And like a lot of other holidays only come once a year. So yeah, basically, this is